Picture this. You are 13 years old and you have been following the Hulk because he was gray. That's what got you into comics. And all of a sudden, you get hit with this. Welcome to Read Your Comics. My name is Daryl and I'm your host. Today I'm looking at a pivotal turning point of the Peter David Hulk run. And man, will you look at this Dale Keown cover of the Banner and Gray Hulk faces getting ripped as the Green Hulk returns, coming through the cover right at your face. I remember when this hit the stands, and even though the last issue said Return of a Colorful Friend, I don't know why. I wasn't expecting this as a kid. I was reading these things month to month. I wasn't, following solicitations and stuff like that. So I had no idea what was coming. And here we are. The Hulk that, I grew up knowing, the green Savage Hulk, but it was the Gray Hulk that pulled me into comics as a month-to-month reader. If you've been watching my Peter David Hulk videos, I've mentioned this before, it is the book that got me into comics as a full-time collector. So I became very attached to the Gray Hulk, but you cannot deny the image of this savage Green Hulk just ripping through doesn't just jump off the shelf at you. Now, before I jump into this, I do want to give a reminder. I have a Peter David Hulk playlist you can find right there, where I have covered every issue of Peter David's continuous Hulk run up to this point. If you're finding the video later, hopefully I'm even farther along. And if you like these top-down comic reviews, be sure to hit the like button at some point during the video. It helps feed it to other comic fans so they can help find this stuff too and enjoy it and be part of this comic book community that I'm really trying to build. I'm always open to discussion. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Part of the reason I make these videos is for the community building. Let's get into this issue. All right, we've been building up with this red car. It started with the Sam Keith fill-in issue. We saw it leaving a mountain, and about every issue since then has had at least one or two pages building up to this like rocket ship looking vehicle. Our title, he's back. We already saw it on the cover. We know what's getting ready to come. How is it going to happen? So our unseen character in the card, though, this whole time is discussing with another group back at the Mount. Now, if you know the Peter David run, you know where this is going, but me, as a 13-year-old kid reading this off the shelf, had no clue what was going on here. And we just kept getting demonstrations of this car. It goes fast. It's going to beat a train that's almost about to cross the intersection here, and the car just rockets through and makes it its way. And the whole time, the dialogue of the guy is completely calm. He's not worried about the train whatsoever. In the last issue, we left off with Bruce finally finding Betty. This is all build up dating back to the end of the McFarlane run when the Hulk was believed to have died in another gamma bomb explosion. Betty went off to do her own thing. She had a miscarriage during that time in an issue that Peter David did not write, and she joined a convent thinking Bruce was dead. Since the end of the Joe Fixit era, Bruce and the Hulk have kind of been looking for Betty. Finally got a hard address of where she was located from Doctor Strange, and he's knocking on the door to see her. This nun that answers the door, which is not Betty, says, I know who you are. You're another reporter wanting to hound her, and she doesn't need you. And obviously, he doesn't even get a chance to explain who he really is. So he decides to just hop the fence, and it rips the back of his shirt, and we see this scar that Doctor Strange had mentioned on his back in the last issue. And in the last issue, I pointed out that it either wasn't rendered very well or it just wasn't very clear, even the scar. Maybe it's gotten worse between that issue and this one, but it's very clear to see the scar running down his spine in that one. A little boy saw him too and is going to go tell the nuns at the church here. Meanwhile, we see our super fast car is coming down the street, and with the priest who's on his way to work at the convent, and he's kind of saying he's running late and the nuns are going to be mad at him. That super fast car runs past him so fast that it causes him to swerve and wreck. And since he's not going to be there, he's not going to be in the confession booth where Bruce is going to duck in and hide. And we get a bit of a cliche thing happening here, but it really is a powerful moment. of Bruce hiding in the confessional booth on the priest side. Betty comes in to do confession. She's thinking he's the priest, and she just starts laying it all out there about how her life has just been turmoil and trauma and monsters and all the things that is we've known about Betty through the history of the Hulk comic. She's been married and lost two husbands, still believing Bruce to be dead here, obviously, and that she's finally found this peace. And so while Bruce was there to visit her, in this moment, he's also feeling like, I can't do this to her. She's finally found some peace and quiet in her life, which is all I've ever wanted as the Hulk. And here Betty has it, and me coming back into her life is going to upset all of that. So he just breaks down in tears in the moment. It's a very emotional moment and resonates more with me more as an adult reading this than it did as a 13-year-old kid because I just wanted to get to that Green Hulk action. And so he musters up, just whispering to her to, be at peace or whatever. And there's a commotion outside. So Betty comes out to see what's going on. And one of the other nuns says, one of the boys in the courtyard saw a man sneaking in to the grounds. And have you seen him? And Betty's like, oh, it's just me and the priest, but oh, he's gone all of a sudden. Now Bruce is back outside. I guess this is still on the grounds of the church, or maybe he left. There's some kids playing again, and he's looking in the water and sees the reflection. He's just reflecting on the life with Betty. There's where, they met, they were dating. She's turned into the harpy. She had like a bout of insanity. He changed from Banner to the Hulk, not realizing what time of day it was, and like injured her real bad. So he's seeing it all here. It's just quickly laying it out, the trauma in Betty's life. So then we go and see Betty visiting the head nun, and she's not wearing her habit. And she explains in here, though, that though she has found peace and everything, she's also heard the reports that the Hulk has been sighted and that he's possibly alive. And she does still love Bruce, and she does need to find him and tell him about the miscarriage and reconnect and all those things. So even though she was telling the priest in the confessional, which is something I think she was about to say all of this, but it got disrupted by the commotion. But here she is coming to tell the head nun, and she's like, that's your choice. You go about it. You can catch a train to New York. That's probably whatever you need to do. You need to do. So Bruce is coming out of the clearing where he was reflecting on everything, and he sees what looks like Betty getting into a car, not wearing her habit, and he realizes she's going somewhere. What is she up to? So he calls the nunnery and asks them where she is, and they said, oh, well, she's left, and she's headed to the train station. So Bruce is going to hijack a car, like literally hijacks a car, and starts heading to the train station, and he sees that rocket car in the rearview mirror. And immediately it pulls up to him to run him off the road. And then we start getting that kind of like the two things happening at once. Betty's buying a ticket uh, to New York, trying to get to wherever she can go. Bruce is trying to get there. He's being delayed by this red car that's just like in his way. And it's just like, no, who are you and why are you doing this? And that's kind of the best look of the driver that we've seen so far. He's going to shoot out some oil slick and this like plastic net. I've always loved this panel here, or these panels, where they kind of warp reality a little bit. This ad. This ad really stands out in my mind from this time period because it was in all the comics at the time. This is the warped panel that I was saying. I always loved this panel right here of like his fingers bending. It's just the chaos and the emotion of the moment of him. He's right there at Betty. He knows she's leaving, looking for him, and he can't get to her because, of course, some kind of what he's going to think is a supervillain or government agent or whatever is chasing him. And it's just making him angrier and angrier. Now his ripped shirt has just come completely off. And you see the dialogue box with the, action kind of edges. Get out, out. And he's like, no, Betty's mine. I need Betty, Betty. You see a scar bulging right there. And then as we get into these panels, look, the scar starts ripping. His skin is separating to reveal the Hulk, the Green Hulk coming through his skin. I know this has been done since then. This is the first time we ever see the transformation happen where the Hulk is literally ripping out of the skin of Banner's skin like a husk. Now, this is 1990s, still kind of code approved. It's not going to be as bloody as they've done it in these days, but this is the first time. And this moment on this page turn, you see some blood there on the ground. He's yelling, "Mine!" Look at the little tuft of hair from the husk falling off. So he still had hair underneath. Kept his pants on. Kept his pants on. All the skin. There must be dead Banner skin under these pants, holding it close to it. But this page, man, this was a mind blowing moment for me as a young collector. The angle, the anatomy of it, just the skin ripping through. This was a big topic of discussion between me and my comic collecting friends because I had been on the Hulk, and a lot of people were just starting to get on the Hulk because of Keown. So this moment, it was massive, and I'm sure the Green Hulk return on the cover probably attracted a lot of new readers even at the time. Probably people who had been ignoring the Hulk because they didn't care about the Gray Hulk. That cover had to draw some people back in. So just all-time classic splash page, if you ask me. And I don't know how they got away with the blood on the ground right there, but they did. And look at that face. Man, that is a nice, angry face. A little different than the Gray Hulk head, a little wider. Of course, the hair is different. In the Gray Hulk, they always draw the hair as like kind of just on the top of the head, almost like when Banner changes, it pushes his hairline up. But Keown decided to keep kind of the shaggy 70s Hulk hair for this one. And these pages here all feel very like 70s Savage Hulk style of story. I mean, this rocket car is going to just hit him with everything. It's going to douse him with flames. It's going to hit him with some kind of energy bolt there. And got a great little bit of Kirby crackle on it, mixed with some like feathered impact energy happening. And it just makes the Savage Hulk just that much angrier. And I pointed out in another issue how Keown was good about even drawing the muscle in the Hulk's hands. And he's going to immediately go into his bag of tricks to dig up a chunk of the ground and just flip the ground up on the car. And now it looks like a Hot Wheel. And as I said, they're going to try everything. So here's some gas. I like these interior shots too. It's like a full-on like control panel, like a rocket. I keep calling it the rocket car. Inside every time we see it, lots of lights. It's kind of like Knight Rider. It's going to shoot out these grappling hooks. Now we're going to electrocute the Hulk. And I love this little bit right here. Just great storytelling by Keown. From the side view of the grappling hooks latching out, grabbing the Hulk from the back. The Hulk was starting to walk away because he thought he'd won. The Hulk would do that. He'd be like, smash and leave. And this panel of him being electrocuted, I feel like this is straight out of like a Sal Buscema issue. You can see his hair all like floating up. Of course, Keown had already done the negative kind of coloring in the Dark Hulk story we just finished up. And it shocks him enough to like just kind of knock him off his feet and drag him. Next in the bag of tricks is some ice. And in here, and somewhere in this dialogue, the driver of the car is saying, all this stuff would have worked on the Gray Hulk to subdue the Gray Hulk. They weren't expecting to see the Green Hulk rip out. So it's going to encase him in ice, which the Gray Hulk got encased in ice, but a lot more than just like an outside covering. And he's just going to rip it up. And I love this between Banner and the Gray Hulk inside the Hulk's head, with Banner telling the Hulk, like, don't stop, we've got to get Betty. You rarely see Banner telling the Savage Hulk especially, keep going, I need you to defeat this, with the Gray Hulk throwing some shade on just like how dumb the Green Hulk is, this brainless idiot. So he breaks out and he's, heading to the car. This is a great panel here. This one could have been better to show a little bit more intimidation factor from inside the cockpit looking out at the Hulk coming at him. So he goes for one more ram to knock the Hulk down. the car is pretty strong, but the Hulk's just going to lift it up and jump off with it and then throws it down to try to smash it. And this is a great panel. This feels Sam Keith like almost. Great shadow. Definitely that cockpit space is, very tight, and to fit it into this panel is probably tighter than what reality would really have it, but I do love the look of that panel. And he's able to hit on some jets, and he's like, nope, I'm getting out of here. Wasn't expecting the Green Hulk. This mission is a failure, and we are out. Savage Hulk lands, and he's able to calm down after he thinks he's done smashing. Look at this terrible print job right here by Marvel. All the comics from this era would have this kind of roller extra black on them like that. If you didn't get that, it's hard to find them without it. So Banner is able to run, and he thinks he's missing the train to catch Betty again. He's like, all of that, letting the Green Hulk back out, and it was all for naught. But he hears Betty's voice, and they reunite for a big smooch. This is probably Keown's best issue on the book, I think. Obviously, we're getting ready to go to the merged Hulk, and those are all great build-up issues as well. But this particular one is the one that really stands out in my mind. I don't know why, on Instagram and stuff, I see people post 377 all the time, and it's a great issue. But I don't understand why people don't post this one more often, because I feel like this is really the pivotal point that leads back to the merged Hulk. Because if this doesn't happen, that issue is not going to resonate in quite the same way. It's like we had to reintroduce the Savage Hulk and show that the Savage Hulk and the Gray Hulk are kind of different. They're different entities. That, up to this point, we've just kind of been told that the Hulk is the Hulk, and even the Gray Hulk was the same as the old Green Hulk, but just smarter and a different shade color. But now we're learning that no, he's like a completely different entity. And we're getting ready to get into all of that split personality stuff that has defined the Hulk ever since then. And who better to do it than a psychologist of Doc Samson, who's been, making a couple of appearances here and there since the Countdown story a handful of issues back. That's it for this one. I love this issue. It's probably one of my favorite issues of Hulk in general. Just that ripping through the skin, which, this is alluding to that, right? Probably one of the most dramatic transformation scenes, particularly up to this point of Hulk. And as I said, I know they've done it a few times in recent years, but this was the first time. And as a 13-year-old kid, it just was mind-blowing. That's it. That's all I got for this one. Until next time.
Read your comics.